Today, I'm going to share how to overcome the number one challenge for real estate agents, and that's becoming known. And I learned this when I was at a real estate conference a number of years ago. So it was a real estate investing conference, and there was about 1,000 people at this conference, and there were many, many operators there that owned thousands of units. Now, at that point, I had built the largest real estate team in Canada. We were doing about $1 billion in sales volume a year. And we had built up a modest real estate investment portfolio. So we had about 50 to 60 units, and we owned single family properties. We owned our office buildings and a number of smaller multifamily deals as well. But I felt like the small fish in a big pond, whereas normally I go to a real estate conference and we're doing a lot of volume, but at this conference I felt pretty small. And the guy beside me, I was starting to talk with him. I told him a little bit about what we're doing, and he really was not impressed with the portfolio that I had. And you kind of walk into a room, and you're the small fish in the big pond, and so it was humbling for me. But at that point, the main speaker came on, and he said, "By show of hands, what is most important in business? Is it becoming known? Is it becoming liked? Or is it being trusted?" And, of course it was trust in my mind. So he pulled everyone, 80% of the room raised their hand at trust. And so he paused and said, "You're all wrong. It's actually becoming known, because if they don't get to know you, they'll never get a chance to like or even trust you." And that line, it was a punch in the gut for me, because I realized that I wasn't becoming known. I wasn't focusing on becoming known as my number one mission. We know that our service is great, but at the end of the day, if people don't get to know you, they won't get a chance to like or trust you. So it raised this flashlight for me. It was this light that was shining bright on obscurity becomes the number one issue, and is the number one issue for real estate agents. And so for me, that shifted my focus towards becoming known in a bigger way. And so that is the biggest problem most agents face, is that they might be really great at their service, but if you're not number one or two in a client's mind or a seller or buyer's mind, you might as well just be a secret agent. And so that's a lot of how real estate agents, they look at themselves as, they're kind of waiting in the office, and they're hoping that people are going to reach out to them. And so they're like secret agents, right? And so they're invisible to the market. And the interesting thing to think about is that buyers and sellers aren't thinking about you. And so that becomes the mission. How do you become number one or number two in their mind? And if you can do that, then you will have a higher chance of them reaching out to you. And then at that point, I'm sure you're likable and you're trustworthy as well, and you have okay service or great service even, but that will get you in the door. Now, our team, we spend millions of dollars every year on focusing on becoming known and being top of mind for buyers and sellers that are out there. And our goal is to be number one or two in a client's mind when they're thinking about selling or buying. Now, for you, you may say, "I don't have millions of dollars to become known." Well, here's the opportunity for you, is that you don't need to be number one and two or two in everybody's mind in your marketplace. You only need to be number one or two in a small group of people to do massive business. And so this brings me to the point of what should you be focusing on as an agent that's in the marketplace if becoming known is the mission. And this is where you can go micro in regards to being number one or two in a smaller group setting. And so what does this look like? This can look like being very present in your kids' sports teams. This could mean that you are on the board or the fundraising board for the school. It could be a neighborhood association or a condo board. It could be a local Facebook group. It could be a mom's group or a dad's group or a business networking group. So BNI or the Chamber of Commerce or the Rotary. Could be real estate investment meetups or forums. It could be a local charity that you're sitting on the board with. It could be clubs such as golf club or a boating club or even a car club as well. It could be we'll say, part of showing up to your kids' sports teams that when they're actually playing, and you're speaking with the parents, but you are top of mind. Maybe it's sponsoring local events. Or maybe it's actually canvassing and door knocking a community or a neighborhood, and you're top of mind for those residents there. The key there is to be number one or two and to become known to a smaller group. And that gives you a competitive advantage when you're starting to focus, okay, I need to be known to more people. And so this could be perhaps being present with your own sphere of influence. And so you could have your real estate license, but if you're not top of mind for them, if you're not reaching out and connecting and showing that you're the market expert, then they're not thinking about you. And that's no slight at you. That's no put down towards you. It's just that buyers and sellers, they're busy out there. And the thing was, and I'll share this quick example, is when you're 20, you care about what people think about you. When you're 40, you don't care about what people think. And when you're 60, you realize that people were not thinking about you at all. And so, so this is really important to note that even your sphere of influence, your friends and family, if they walk into an open house, they're perhaps, if you're not top of mind, you're not reaching out to them, you're not known, you're not one or two in that moment that they're thinking of taking action on buying or selling. So now, how else can you become known? And so you can do this by being different than anyone else. And so most agents, and for context here, if you walk into a room, most agents, if a buyer or a seller is walking into a room and there's a bunch of agents, a lot of them are standing on the same table yelling the same thing. So they're saying, I'm the best, or I'm full service, or I'm the cheapest, or whatever that is. They're standing on a table and they all sound alike. Now, if the goal is to be number one or two, then why don't you stand on a different table and state something different about yourself? And so this could be what differentiates you. So what's the number one thing that you could be known for? And so if you think of Apple, for example, they're known for thinking different. Nike is very straightforward, just do it. And so they have these short messages that encompasses what they stand for. And so a clear message of something simple that you stand for that is an expression of who you are and how you stand out. And so if you can actually be different than everyone else and provide, say, a different value proposition than the rest of the market, as in, I'm the best or I'm number one, that will truly differentiate you. Now, for me, when I started, I was a semi-pro hockey player. And so going full out was something that I was always doing. And so becoming professional was something that I learned from an early age. It's like being a pro was something that really resonated with me and going full out. And so when we started with nothing, and we only became successful because I was going full out. My wife was going full out doing the staging and marketing, and I was going full out door knocking on hundreds and hundreds of doors. And so we got through that early struggle phase, but full out was something that really stuck as what differentiates us and how we deliver the service. And so if you can be different in the how, then that will make you different and will make you stand out in a very loud crowd. Now, another way to look at this is if you were not from this planet, and if you went to we'll say the soda or the pop aisle with all the pop, and you have all the different drinks there. Now, if you weren't from this planet and you looked at all of them, they'd all look very similar. And so you want to be able to look different. So maybe the bottle is different. Maybe it's the branding and how you're approaching it. And so for us, full out for you and full out is something that differentiates us. And we tie that together in the how that we're delivering. And so full out for you is something that we're consistently stating over and over and over. Now, how else can you become known in a marketplace? And so this is where I believe that your face is the strongest indicator, the strongest grab in regards to what resonates with people. And so if you think of the big brands, think of Apple, think of, we'll say Tesla, think of Disney World. When you think of them, you think of people and faces. And so for Apple, for me, I think of Steve Jobs. For Tesla, Elon Musk. For Disney, Walt Disney. And so your face, we have an opportunity to, in real estate, to actually have our face on our for sale signs. I think that's such a strong pull. Now, in some markets, maybe you feel that that doesn't resonate or the market doesn't, we'll say, like that. For me, I think that your face on the sign can be a very strong pull towards your brand and helps you stand out in a very crowded marketplace. I believe that your face is one of your best marketing assets to create consistency. And so the story for us was, at one point, we had a marketing specialist that came in and they had said, listen, we should start taking the face off all of your branding. And so we tried it for a bit. But then what happened over a period of time was we had clients saying, hey, like, I haven't seen you guys around lately. Are you guys still in business? And we were getting that. And I was like, oh my goodness, we got to get our face back on our advertising. And so we are more focused on staying consistent with the face, and the consistency wins versus, cute sayings that are changed from time to time. So the goal is to be visible, be human, and that you're speaking heart to heart. And so this is where another way that you can differentiate yourself and become known is when you're speaking, speak to one person versus all of your clients. Speak heart to heart in your communication. So you can write, whoever say your core client is, just pick a client that you believe represents your overall client base and actually write any sort of communication to that one person, from you to them. And then, of course, you're going to change the name with any sort of communication. But this is for all marketing it applies for, or email communication as well. You want to have it heart to heart, one person to another person. That's what connects with people. So to pull all this together, guys, stop hiding your face. If you have the opportunity, which I believe you do, show your face. Start using your face consistently in your ads, your videos, your signs, social posts as well. And faces connect with people more than logos do. So if you can tie your face with your logo at the same time, that helps you become known even more in your marketplace. Clarify what your one thing is. So what is your message? For us, it's full out for you. For you, what's that one thing that really differentiates you, that you feel is a competitive advantage that is uncommon in the marketplace? And so keep it simple and look at the how you deliver your service when you're coming up with your one thing. Come up with an origin story on how you got into the business, and to really break that down, that early struggle or the big mission that you're on as well. If you can have an origin story, that is very powerful when you're telling people what differentiates you in the marketplace when you get face-to-face with the potential buyer or seller. And the next one is to be the loud voice in a small group. So be the market expert, become known in a small group as the go-to. And so there's a number of different groups you can associate with, but if you do that, you will be top 1 or 2, which is the goal when people are thinking about buying or selling a home. You want to be that go-to that they reach out to. And you want to be the convenient option as well. So you being around, that's why in a lot of cases, door knocking works really well, because you're number 1 or 2 because they just made a decision the night before and you're showing up. And so you present yourself in a big way. It's like, I'm here now. And so that's why things like that and being in front of people allows you to be that number one or two option, and you can get business that way. Okay. So if somebody in my marketplace was thinking about selling, you got to think about yourself and say, am I going to be number one or two in a smaller group of people's mind? And if not, then your goal is to get into a group and to be that number one or two. And so we talked about some strategies to be able to do that. And stop playing secret agent identity. So we don't want to be secret agents here. We want to tell people what it is that we do, and we want to be looked at and present ourselves as the market expert. Be human, have your face out there as much as possible, and consistency with the face, because the more that somebody sees a face, the more likely they're going to remember you and be number one or two. And last but not least, heart-to-heart communication differentiates you. Speak from your heart to their heart. So one person to the other person, especially with group emails, that helps it come across and emotionally connect at a deeper level. So in closing, guys, your number one issue is not about being good enough. It's about becoming known. It's about being seen and being top of mind for a group of people that is the number one or two option for them for real estate agents when they're thinking about buying or selling. And if people don't get to know you, they're never going to get a chance to like or even trust you. So the mission should become being known, because the goal isn't to be famous, it's to be unforgettable to the right group of people. You don't need a lot of people to be number one or two in, but if you are number one or two in a small group, you can do massive business in a big way, but we got to be intentional about this. So question for you guys, drop in the comments below, what do you want to be known for? And I'm looking forward to seeing what your responses are. Thanks for listening to the show here, guys. My mission is to help you become a pro, and together we can elevate the entire real estate industry. If you like the show, please share and subscribe to the channel. I love you guys, and keep on going full out.